Hello, are you watching Geek Movies? As Marvel prepares for the massive launch of the Deadpool 3 promo campaign while also strategizing on replacing Kang the Conqueror, DC content consistently gets entangled in a web of dramas, intrigues, and other unpleasant situations involving the new leadership, the fan base, and even former studio employees. Is Margot Robbie really leaving her role as Harley Quinn in James Gunn's revamped cinematic universe? Why does Matt Reeves' The Batman sequel risk becoming the director's last? What's happening with the production of the second season of Peacemaker and the new Superman? And how did the Aquaman sequel suddenly change the hierarchy with its box office earnings? We'll delve into each news item in detail in this issue, but for now, we hasten to remind you that the release of the Suicide Squad game, set in the Arkham universe from Rockstar, is scheduled for early next month. And judging by the first reviews, the project turned out to be controversial. Those who played it praised the intriguing and emotional plot, commendable acting, and a large number of high-quality cutscenes, even more than in the Batman trilogy. At the same time, tiresome missions in the open world and monotonous gameplay are criticized. Journalists believe that some of the game's combat mechanics are indeed interesting but sorely lack variety. There's a chance that Suicide Squad might face the same fate as the failed Avengers game by Square Enix. However, the developers are already promising DLC related to the Joker, as well as unique endgame content capable of challenging all hardcore players. Is this really the case? We'll find out in February. Continuing with games, Warner Bros. Games executives have confirmed that game development projects for the revamped DC Cinematic Universe have officially started. And there's a chance that we might get the first announcements and details this year at one of the Comic-Cons. James Gunn added that these will not be cheap games mimicking a connection with the franchise like in the early 2000s, but full-fledged, high-budget titles at the level of Spider-Man from Insomniac Games or God of War. Moreover, they will be 100% canon for everything released under the studio's brand on big and small screens. Despite all ambitious statements, we personally expect these projects to stand apart from the cinematic universe's plots and follow the path of Star Wars. On one side, the main series of movies and series tied to a specific period and plot. On the other, a set of gaming projects that can either take place in the past or feature lesser-known characters in the lead role. As an example from a galaxy far, far away, we can recall the story of Jedi Cal Kestis or the series of titles about the Knights of the Old Republic, which are canonical and fit perfectly into the overall film chronology. Yet, they remain independent works, only supplementing the overall picture. A cosmic adventure with the Green Lanterns, the past of Gotham, Krypton, and Themyscira, all this can be realized through such games. Share your ideas in the comments about the development of the gaming universe, and we'll return to the films. In one of her latest interviews discussing a possible return to the role of Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie bluntly stated that she knows nothing about it. Moreover, the actress hinted that she dreams of passing this role to another ambitious actress, as usually happens with Superman, Batman, or the Joker. Before fans could fully grasp the situation, James Gunn tweeted that he hadn't discussed Robbie's further participation in the franchise for a long time. At the same time, the producer would be happy to work with her, both as Harley Quinn and in a renewed role, noting that he is not looking for another actress for Harley's role yet. Immediately after this, the new DC leadership faced a new wave of hate. Some began to accuse him of nepotism, recalling the firing of Henry Cavill and other inconvenient actors. Others believe that since a new Joker and Batman await us in the revamped cinematic universe, it would be logical to introduce a completely new Harley, as Margot's image is closely associated with the versions of the characters played by Ben Affleck and Jared Leto. Meanwhile, some fully support the actress's return. Personally, we hold the position that the DC head continues to be evasive, not giving direct answers, and demonstratively shifts the responsibility for the character's future fate onto Margot herself. Considering the good relationship between the director and the actress, we assume that such a move could have been made by mutual consent to minimize hate towards the new leadership. Therefore, we can easily imagine a scenario where, in about 3 to 4 years, the producer announces that Margot Robbie will play a new heroine in DC, as happened with the director's brother, Sean Gunn. Moreover, the actress stated that she plans to take a break in her acting career, believing that after the release of Barbie, the mass audience might be tired of her face. Share in the comments how you would deal with the future of Harley Quinn in the movies, and what do you think about the possibility of giving Margot Robbie a new role? But the evasiveness of Gunn doesn't end there. As previously mentioned, the DC brand will be divided into two parts. The first will present movies within the main cinematic universe. The second, called Elseworlds, will focus on authorial projects, telling the story in a format of parallel worlds. For both brands, James Gunn promised unique intros. However, it was recently clarified that the intro for Elseworlds films will only be attached to those projects that are entirely developed under the leadership of the new head of DC Studios. This means that neither the Joker sequel nor the new part of Batman by Matt Reeves will receive it. And Gunn, as in the case with Flash, Aquaman, and Shazam, is already laying the groundwork, implying that he supposedly has nothing to do with it. On one hand, this may seem like a trifle. On the other, some insiders have suggested that in this way, James Gunn is preparing us for the fact that the next film about the Dark Knight with Robert Pattinson will be the last. This is indicated by the fact that Matt Reeves' series about Arkham Asylum was snatched away, turning it into a project for the rebooted cinematic universe. And the previously announced Batman, Brave and Bold with Andres Muschietti as the director, suggests that the studio is primarily interested in developing the flagship universe. A potential triquel with Pattinson would only further confuse the mass audience. Therefore, they are trying to cautiously phase it out. Some might wonder why the leadership didn't finish this franchise now. The answer lies in the box office success of the first part, which brought the studio about $772 million. So, while James is building his answer to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Warner Bros. Executives plan to make money on already proven material in parallel. But, as always, everything can change. And while Matt Reeves still has some chance to complete his story, the director of 2016's Suicide Squad, David Ayer, has completely lost hope of presenting that particular version. On his social networks, the director stated that Warner Bros. Is absolutely not interested in showing the original version of the film, and because of this situation, he will never agree to shoot comic book movies, especially for DC franchises. Let's bring you a quote from his latest interview. "I made a great film. People who saw my version unanimously said that it's one of the best comic book movies ever made. If you want to dispute that, you can come and talk to me. I was ridiculed in the media repeatedly. Because of this, I realized that nature abhors a vacuum, and if you don't tell your story, someone else will. Yes, it's a wound, and it cost me dearly." In conclusion, the director called on the studio leaders to at least hold a special screening for the cast and film crew, all to show them the achieved result. From our side, it's hard to say what's really happening inside the studio, because just a couple of months ago, Ayer seemed to imply that James Gunn was interested in releasing the original version of Suicide Squad. So we won't be surprised if the situation changes again soon. Speaking of James Gunn's plan, several updates about his upcoming projects appeared online. For example, it was revealed that for the role of Supergirl, the studio is considering young candidates in the likes of Millie Alcock, Emilia Jones, and Meg Donnelly. It is expected that the heroine's first episodic appearance will take place in Superman, Legacy, and then in a solo film with the subtitle Woman of Tomorrow. The development of the second season of Peacemaker is also not standing still. James Gunn reported that the script writing is 50% complete, and they hope to start the filming process at the end of this year. Among other updates, it is said that the show will feature a renewed musical intro. All this will take place within the framework of the rebooted cinematic universe, and most importantly, the best friend of the main character, Eagly, is not going anywhere. And we conclude our DC News issue with box office earnings. Over the past few days, the Aquaman sequel managed to earn more than $370 million. Thus, the project collected more than Shazam 2 and Blue Beetle combined, $100 million more than Flash, and will soon reach the results of Black Adam with Dwayne Johnson, which at the time collected $393 million. Although this is far from the box office results of the first part and even Marvel's Quantumania, it still hints that the studio leaders, especially James Gunn, should not have neglected to provide the film with decent marketing. If Aquaman 2 gathers $400 million without any advertising at all, then with some promotion, $600 million look like a realistic sum. And this would not only cover the film's costs, but also make a profit. It is only gratifying that Jason Momoa is still part of the future of the franchise, because according to numerous rumors and hints from the leaders, the actor is fully ready to play the alien bounty hunter Lobo, who may appear very soon. And that's all from us. Share in the comments what you think about the ongoing oddities with the DC franchise. Do you hope for the release of David Ayer's original version of Suicide Squad and the continuation of Pattinson's Batman story? And do you believe James Gunn and his creative vision? See you soon.